Define tenure and term limits.
Tenure is one of those words that I've been involved with for a very long time. When I was going to graduate school and taught at the university level when I was in music, I saw this firsthand. Tenure is nothing that any of you and I have. I don't get to be a B&B director at $100,000 a year for the rest of my life. Neither do I think anybody, either if it's teachers in the education system or if it's politicians in Cheyenne or in Washington. The word tenure and term limits go together. There have been too many people that serve forever in the legislatures that the only reason they're there is because, oh, well, he was elected for 20 years, he must be good. They don't look at records, they don't look at how this person has performed over those 20 years. Your performance in your particular situation in politics needs to be scrutinized by the constituents. And if they don't like what you're doing, they need to vote you out. But by the same token, I don't think I have the right, nor the energy, or even the ability to serve for decades and keep the same perspective that I have now. We have to keep turning this over, and it's what our founding fathers intended. You hear a lot about this is a citizen government in Wyoming, and it is. It's not paid. It gets a stipend for while they're doing their job. That's fine. But there's also a lot of power that comes along with being in a situation for decades. And there's a lot of power that comes from being the head of a committee where you can bury bills, just put them on a shelf and they never see the light of day. Now, that's power taken to an extreme. You see Harry Reid doing it in Washington all the time, and you see it happening in Cheyenne. I believe that if I can't get a job done in 2 terms as senator, 8 years, then I'm not going to get it done. Somebody else better than me needs to go do it. To serve there over and over and over, just because you have an R in front of your name or just because you came from some particular place or however have a particular name, does not mean that you should stay there forever. Our founding fathers knew at the conception of this country that government is basically evil. It cannot rule, it must govern. And what we have come to now is a bunch of rulers rather than governors. And the only way you keep governance in that equation is if you have a constant turnover of folks like you and me, and not dynasties in political families or political parties. And in addition to that, I would say it is a matter of integrity. When you serve for so long, you may not have the same perspective. And the integrity comes from being close to the people. You asked me earlier what I would do in that regard. And I promise you that during a term as senator that I would fill, there will be House meetings, there will be town hall meetings, there will be me on the phone every day calling every member of the district of this particular place, and I will call you and I will say, look, what are you thinking? How did I do here? Did I mess up? Because I will mess up. I am not perfect. What do you think? That has not been done here for a very long time. Now, maybe if you're part of the Good Old Boy Network, you are, but how many of you in this district have ever had one of your legislators call you and just say, hey, Joe, what do you think about this issue? I don't think that's been happening. And that's one thing that I would do to change that. And that would build the integrity of that position. Not necessarily just me, but that office, it would build the integrity of.
You know, you talked about less government and reducing government regulating our lives. But you've also talked about writing Wyoming Constitution amendments when it comes to marriage and healthcare. How is this reducing government?
The biggest intrusion into your life and the most burden on your life is going to be Obamacare. My point in that regard is to make it a state level decision and not a federal level decision. We're talking about over 2,000 pages of Obamacare that is going to control you from cradle to grave. Right now, we have an abortion issue in this country where the rights of a fetus are not anywhere to be found. I am for the rights of the fetus. And we could go on and on about abortion, but that's primarily my issue. That child has a right to life. In the Obama health care, which is this high, not only does it say we're going to have abortion, but it's going to say that at age 60, we're going to start thinking about, well, maybe this procedure is not good for you because you're really past your prime and productivity, so maybe we just won't let you have that procedure. Is that something you want for your grandma, for your mom and dad? To tell them that, you know, Mom, we just can't have this kidney transplant because you're not worth it. Life is life is life, no matter how old it is. If it's at conception or if it's at 106. A life is a life and it's worthy because God granted it. So I can't support anything that is going to be that intrusive into your life as Obamacare. It's up to the state to see how we are going to handle that. And it's a complex issue. But we can do that, not the federal government. As it applies to marriage, marriage is defined as a union between a man and a woman. And it goes back biblically. Matrimonium, the Latin word, means mater and monium. Mater meaning mother, monium meaning condition, meaning a mother in a condition of pregnancy. That can only happen between a man and a woman. I'm not trying to tell homosexuals they can't do this, they can't do that. What they do is their business. But what I do not want to see happen is a redefinition of an institution. And that's what will happen if you redefine the word. The word means a union between a man and a woman. If a homosexual couple wants to have legal rights in certain conditions they may not have now, they can go to a lawyer and they can get a legal partnership where each of them has power of attorney and they can sign off on anything that applies to either one of them. That will support and work in any court of law. What we do not want is that particular issue coming from that community to redefine what has been in the Judeo-Christian ethic for thousands of years. And if we change that definition, then we have nullified all of that goodness that is what's called the family. And part of what the left wants to do is destroy the family. And I think that's part and parcel of destroying the family.
Let's fast forward, and you're elected. How will you avoid becoming part of the good old boy network that has been created and is pretty much content with the way things are?
I think the GOB party is not ever going to be part of my life because I don't think they'd ever let me in it. Ever since I was a kid, I have lived in towns, and all towns have this. They have the establishment, and that's fine. And some of the establishment is very good, some of the establishment has done very good things. But when it comes to politics, too many times, you're not invited because you're not from here, or your name is not this. People ask me all the time, where are you from? That's not the question to ask me. The question is to ask me, where am I going? And where I'm going is a place that I think the rest of the country and this state would like to be. And that is where every individual in this county, in this district, has a say-so. There is no, I have never been part of a GOB network. I never will be, because I speak the truth and I speak my mind, and I'm rather too candid at times anyway. So I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I believe. That generally doesn't work in a good old boy network. There are pressures that will come to bear in Cheyenne, but the pressures that I am only going to be concerned about are what are going to come from District 18 and from the constituents here. And if, God forbid, something happened that I truly could not vote for the general consensus of the people here in District 18, I would not vote against them. I would resign first. If it was truly a matter of conscience, I don't think that'll ever come about, because I am and always will be in touch with those people here. I will be calling them. I will be having meetings with them all the time. They can come to my house, have a beer. I'm not going to be aloof, and I am not going to be partisan. I am going to stick to my convictions, and if my convictions are what are their convictions, then we'll do fine. If not, then we'll talk about it. And we'll have disagreements, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that are not going to like me. But it's about principles and values that I have that are not going to change over time or over pressure from whatever special interest group. I cannot be the only special interest group that I'm concerned about are those people in District 18.
Well, Bob, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Thank you.